Episode 35, Steve. Big one today.
Here we are.
How you doing, man?
Good. Feels like we were just here a couple of days ago.
I think we were. We have a big guest today. We have the NWSL Goalkeeper of the Year and the Team of the Year as well, Aubrey Bledsoe. How are you?
Bledsoe.
Bledsoe?
You're adding an extra L in there. Bledsoe.
Bledsoe. So.
Yeah, all good.
How you going?
Good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, excited to be here and talk football with you guys.
Yeah, so you're currently at Sydney FC on. Is it classified as a loan or is it like a?
Yeah, technically on contract with the Washington Spirit and the NWSL, and then they loan me to Sydney every Aussie summer. So This is my third year here.
Okay, how are you finding Australia so far?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I wouldn't be back if I didn't.
Yeah.
It's great. Love my teammates. The club has been great. Some people kind of jump around, but I always wanted to kind of stick with one club and continue, what we've had over the years. Every year we've made the grand final that I've been here, and this year we've got another good squad and hopefully can win a championship after winning last year's W-League grand final.
Yeah, back to back.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
the plan.
Yeah, well, before we get into where you're at now, let's rewind it back to when you first started playing football. Like, what age were you? And
Probably 4. I mean, as young as I can remember.
yeah,
I come from a really athletic, sporty family. I have a twin sister and then 2 brothers, one older, one younger. And my parents signed us up for pretty much everything.
yeah,
So my dad, I think, was actually one of my first soccer coaches. Played basketball, softball, and ended up sticking out with basketball and soccer. Played throughout high school, and then I just was better at soccer. So I realized I could get a good scholarship to a good university. So stayed with soccer. I wasn't as good in basketball, even though I might have liked that a little more.
yeah.
But I just kind of continued on from there, and now here I am, just turned 28 and still playing.
So you went to college. At what point did you go, actually, I want to pursue this route as a professional, or you didn't actually have it in mind?
So in the States, we've had 4 professional leagues now. The NWSL is the 4th one. So the first 3 folded after only 3 seasons. So growing up, I know I went to at least like 1 professional game, but I didn't really grasp professional women's soccer player as a viable career option.
Yeah.
So the previous league, the WPS, folded when I was in college. So when I graduated, I thought, I'll go play overseas. Not sure if we'll have a league then. And then, just maybe move on to being a doctor. I thought maybe I wanted to go into med school. So I graduated college, played a year overseas, came back into the NWSL. But it was just kind of, we'll see where it takes me. Soccer was just more of a way to get into a good university and just something I enjoyed doing with my friends rather than like I really want to be the best and play for as long as I can. It's just been more of a
Free education.
Well, not necessarily free, but just I enjoyed it, and it just seemed like the next logical step. So I've always just kind of been like, what do I want to keep playing year at a time, because things change and but I realized maybe my sophomore year in college that hey, I could play pro if I wanted to. Like this could happen. So just kind of kept with it, and now I really love it, and I'm happy that I'm doing this.
Were you always a goalkeeper?
I played goalkeeper in field till about age 13 or 14, and then they kind of push you to pick one. Don't sub keepers out. It's you play the full game. But it's a complicated scenario because my twin sister was a goalkeeper. We were on the same team. So we would kind of split halves for a bit. And then it got to the age, where you only play one. So she ended up moving to another club because she was really good as well. And then, so I had my own team. She had her own team. So I'd say around 13 or 14, I was officially like full-time keeper. I still played a little field, and then obviously college. I was just only goalkeeper.
So where was the first club you went to after college?
I went to Norway and played a half a year with Grand Buda in the Arctic Circle, very northern Norway. Just a half a season. They were going to be relegated, and they got some internationals, and we still ended up being relegated. But it was a good experience because in college I was on a really good team. Wake Forest University played in the ACC, and I wasn't really tested. And then I think this team before I got there was giving up around like 4 goals a game.
Oh, wow.
So I was busy. I was very busy.
What did you bring the average down to?
It was probably like 1.5. Like
alright.
it still wasn't where I'd like it to have been, but I was tested more like 6 months, I don't know, than I was in like 4 years of college.
Was it a big shock going to like a country like Norway where it's cold and...
Yeah, we luckily played indoors, which thank goodness, because human life wouldn't have been possible outside there. But it was definitely a culture change. A lot of the girls knew English, and they were very welcoming, so they made it great. We had a couple other internationals. I had a Canadian roommate who, showed me the ins and outs of pro football. So it wasn't too much of a shock, but for me it was more just being so far away from family and being on my own. It was weird to go from college where everything is so structured, and I had to manage my time efficiently between classes and my extracurriculars and soccer practice, and then to go be a pro. And there, some of the girls had other jobs, so we trained in the afternoons, maybe 5 or 6 p.m. And that would be like my only obligation of the day.
Yeah.
So I'm in this really small town. Like I think the population was 150,000.
Oh, wow.
So not too much to do. It got to be pretty cold, so couldn't really explore outside. So just kind of sitting in my apartment, and I'm not much of a Netflix and chill kind of person. I get bored and stir crazy, so it's just a lot of kind of sitting there and like, what am I doing with my life? So it was more that kind of adjustment into the pro life of just really only having soccer. And I'm like, wow, this is, you think it's like really nice, but I actually like to be involved in a bit more. So yeah.
And then after that you went back to the US?
Yeah, after that I had the opportunity to go play back in the NWSL. So most girls after college will enter the college draft, but I thought that by going overseas I would be a free agent and could kind of pick where I wanted, but the process is a bit more complicated, so I ended up having to go to Sky Blue FC in New Jersey because they had my rights. So I ended up in New Jersey, was there for a season, then was loaned to Fortuna Hjørring in Denmark, which, we love Fortuna. First introduced to the goal station there, and my coach there created it, Brian Sorensen. Then Orlando Pride entered the NWSL. So they had an expansion draft, and I was selected from Sky Blue to go to Orlando. Played 2 years in Orlando, I was traded to Spirit, 2 years there. So it's been a complicated career. I feel old, 4 years of college for one team, and then it's like 5 years of pro, and I've been in 3 different continents, and I don't know how many different pro teams, but I feel like I'm reaching a point in my career where I have a bit more stability now, and it's nice. I've got 3rd season here with Sydney FC, and I'll be going to start a 3rd season with the Washington Spirit.
So in the US, you guys don't actually have a choice to move, do you? Like if the club sells your rights, that's it. Yeah,
not really. I guess you can kind of refuse to report to that team and
what happens
try
then?
to go overseas, but you can't play in the NWSL if, I can't say, I want to play for Portland and just voila, make it happen. your rights have to be traded and the teams have to agree to it. So it's a bit complicated. They made it that way just to have some stability in the league. It's like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The previous 3 leagues
Folded.
folded. So I get it, and I think eventually more flexibility will be given to the players, but they wanted to make it equal and not have all the girls wanting to go to the richer clubs and being able to just kind of buy the all-stars in a sense.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, but yeah, sometimes it's like, really? Doesn't seem like the player's best interest, but ultimately it's working, and we have a league now. I think might be the 8th year, 9th. I don't know, but yeah, I'm happy I have a job, and so.
So that's tough for you as a keeper, even for a player. Like, it'd be hard enough not being able to have that freedom. But with you, then be one, or how many keepers in the 3? 3 is there in the squad, or 2?
Yeah, three.
3 keepers, yeah. So if you're a young keeper and you might think, I'm moving into this club, I'm getting a good job, and then, no, you're going to this club now, and then you're back down the pecking order.
Yeah, well, backups you find don't really get traded because they don't have any game minutes to prove themselves. So you could get stuck. And to be honest, I thought I would be with the Pride for a while until the league expanded, just because there really isn't too much movement amongst keepers, but I got an opportunity when Ashton Harris tore her quad. So I came in, started 11 games, and did well, and that opened the door for a trade. But, you could just kind of be stuck as a backup somewhere and just be waiting, for your opportunity to start. That's why I really enjoyed playing overseas, to get those meaningful game minutes.
Yeah.
So the first time you came out to Australia, like, how did that come about?
I actually had contacted pretty much every W-League club and was like, hey.
What made you want to
for a team.
contact W-League clubs?
I just heard great things about the league. There aren't too many people. Actually, I don't really know anyone who hasn't enjoyed their experience with the W-League. The weather is an obvious draw. Yeah. The culture, it's really it's fun to be here. It's good food, good beaches, good people. And then, of course, the soccer, to be able to play through our off season, because our off season can get long. It's about 5 months, and you're responsible to be fit and ready when preseason comes around. But if you don't have a good training option at home or wherever home may be, then you're kind of just like, well, what do I do? Because the NWSL, you're only paid during the months you play, and in the past you're only provided housing during those months as well. We've actually just made changes in the league, so now I'll be getting paid throughout the whole calendar year and provided housing. So that's a great step up for our league, because a lot of girls almost become like homeless, when the season ends. So some people it's out of necessity, other people it's just pure enjoyment of Australia in the league. But so it was a mix of both. I definitely wanted game minutes because I wasn't a regular starter at that point, and just loved it and kept wanting to come back. So it's been a great league. It's really boosted my confidence. It makes me feel sharp going back into the NWSL, and I find great ways to train here in the off season, and it's a good vibe.
Yeah. So let's talk about last year, because it was a big year for you.
Mm-hmm.
How did you start the season? How did it go? Were you planning on obviously getting those goals that you got?
I think that right. Everyone, you want to have a lot of confidence and aim high. So coming off, we won the W-League Championship, so had a great season here in Sydney FC, and was pretty sharp then starting the Washington Spirit season. And for me, that was only my second year as a regular NWSL starter. So went through some growing pains the previous year, and I think I just grew up a lot in my ability to read the game and to react rationally. Because as a goalkeeper, you're back there and you kind of see everything fall apart, so to speak, in front of you, and in my rookie year, I just kind of made some decisions, some mistakes, I'd say, with my decision making about, coming out of my goal or just in reading situations, just more out of like, in that moment, it's like, oh crap, I need to go in and fix this, right? But then I just, developed more of a calmness, confidence of, just make them beat me. So I think that really helped my game a lot. The mental side of things, tactically understanding the game. And you see keepers don't peak till later. It's because so much of it is just reading and seeing the game. So that just takes time, and you got to trust the process. And you wish you had that at a young age, but really there's nothing else you can do except gain experience. So I think that really helped. And we had a good year for the Spirit as a team, and so I think that obviously made me look better and really turned things around with the new coach, new ownership, and it all combined to being a great year and winning NWSL Goalkeeper of the Year.
Yeah, so it's obviously a big achievement for you, and you broke some records doing that.
Which did I?
Yeah, apparently you have.
What's that?
You broke the NWSL League for saves recorded.
That was the year prior.
That was prior.
That was a rough year. I was busy in goal. No keeper really wants to make the most saves in league history, to be honest. I wish I could have like the lowest goals against average or, most shutouts, something along those lines. So hopefully I'll get that record next time.
But last year you got, was it 3 Player of the Month awards?
Oh, okay, yeah, Player of the Month.
And
were you Player of the Week as well?
And Player of the Week, you got it 2 times. Were you expecting the Goalkeeper of the Year award, or?
I wouldn't say expecting, just because you never know. Like, to be honest, sometimes I feel like awards aren't necessarily given to the better players. Maybe it's someone who's, more popular for whatever reasons. You never know, because it takes into consideration fan vote and media vote and things like that. Of course, I was thankful to win and was hoping I would, but it was just an honor to be nominated. Because there's some great goalkeepers in the league. Like, I really respect Kaylin Sheridan. She's another one who owns that record with me for the most saves. I think we tied the year before.
Okay.
But so it was definitely a goal, of course. I want to be the best that I can be, and I want my team to win. So if the awards come with that, that's obviously a great byproduct. But ultimately, like, I would love to win NWSL championship.
Yeah, obviously. I see that, you won the Goalkeeper of the Year, Team of the Year, but you haven't been selected you haven't had an official cap for the US. So how's it possible that the Goalkeeper of the Year can't make the national team?
Well, I did get my first call in November. So right after the season ended, we got a new national team coach, Vladko Andonovsky, and he picked me on his first roster to be on the U.S. women's national team for the first time. So that was really exciting for me personally. It's a dream of mine to be on the U.S. women's national team. So I was really excited and had some high expectations and high hopes of breaking in before the Olympics. But it was good to be there. I realized it's another step then in my development, like college to pro is a big jump, and then you get the best of the pros, and it's just a whole nother level of just mental sharpness and just there's not that much that separates people at that level, just because everyone is so good, but there's not much room for error. So it was a good taste at the next step, what I hope will be my next step at least. So hopefully I'll get another call in. Probably won't be until after the Olympics, but I'll keep working my butt off and be ready for whenever it comes.
How was that, like that camp to go in with the national team, the best in the World Cup winners, to get that call up to be around all the best?
Yeah, at first, I'll be honest, I was really nervous. Just because you do dream of that your whole life. So when it finally comes, it's like, oh my gosh, like, relax, Aubrey. But like, it definitely was a bit tense. I was confident, but right, you still want to do your best. So there's some nervous tension there. So after the first few days, I finally was able to relax and I think play my best. So I was proud of how I did and really enjoyed it. Towards the end of camp, I wasn't so nervous about making mistakes, but just trying to get out there and, do what I do and show myself well. So, yeah, towards the end of the week, I enjoyed it, and it was a great experience for my development, and just to be out there with my friends and just to be challenged. I love the challenge and just always trying to improve myself, so it was perfect environment to do that.
So how is that whole like women's football culture in the US? Like we've seen some teams have like ridiculous crowds, probably bigger than some of the men's teams over there. How is that like for you as an athlete being player of the year? Do people recognize you? Do people talk about it? Is it on ESPN or?
Oh, I wish. It's really variable just depending on each team. So we didn't really have the best broadcast deal last year. After the World Cup, we had a ton of momentum in the States after winning, which was great to see. And we had some huge crowds. My club personally drew about 20,000 to 2 games that we played at a really nice venue called Audi Field, which is the home of DC United, the men's team in Washington, D.C. So that was a blast. Some of the best nights of my life were those 2 games. But yeah, other teams struggle for attendance numbers. So yeah, it's getting better. We still have a lot of room to grow. After the World Cup, some of our games were aired on ESPN News, which it's great that we're on TV, but hopefully this coming year we'll have a better broadcast deal, to be on a major network, whether it be ESPN. I have no idea what they're working on. Hopefully they'll announce something soon. But yeah, we need to be exposed to more people. And
So are all the games not telecast?
they haven't. No, you're right. They're not. They are live streamed. You can get online and watch them, but they're not.
Yeah, wow, I didn't know that. Yeah. I thought they would have been even here. I think now all the games are telecast. Majority of them, yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely a huge step that we need for the league, just increasing our visibility, because I wouldn't really say that everyone knows there's a pro women's soccer league.
Oh, wow,
they can definitely say, the U.S. women's national team has Megan Rapinoe, Alex Morgan, and maybe give you, the couple big stars. But, people aren't really aware of it. So hopefully we can continue to grow.
What's it like rank in women's sports, like to having football? Because I know the WNBA is big for women's sports.
Yeah.
What else is there?
There's the WNBA. I'm trying to think of other professional leagues.
Because it's not like a WNFL.
No, there's not. I think there's a pro softball league, but it's very small. I'm not sure if there's pro hockey. It might have folded. So there aren't many professional women's sports, to be honest. So it's huge, and soccer is growing. Our men's league as well, the MLS.
Yeah, it's getting
is growing very rapidly,
yeah.
And they're expanding every year. So we're getting there. The World Cup momentum definitely helped, and this summer I think having the Olympics and that exposure will help. They've announced that we'll expand to 10 teams. Louisville is joining next year. So there's always kind of been like talk of expansion, but nothing's really happened. So hopefully these next couple years it'll finally break through and
Do you
stick.
think the expansion is good for the league, or it puts it at risk of folding again?
I think it's good. We're starting to get some minimum standards, because in the past years there have been a couple teams, the ones that are generally associated with MLS teams are a lot more established. They have more resources because of the men's side, whether that be, ticket sales reps or corporate sponsorships, and just people know the men's team, so it's like, oh, there's women's team. That's a logical segue. But then you have some independent teams that aren't affiliated with men's teams, and so those can be a little underfunded. What was the question? I feel like I just got off on a tangent.
If it's a bad thing for the league.
Oh, right. Okay.
Overexpand.
So yeah, and in the past year, we haven't expanded because there have been some clubs that needed to be improved before we just added other teams. Okay. So Boston folded, Kansas City folded, and those girls were relocated to Utah, who came in and they're associated with the MLS team and have more resources, more funding. So rather than Utah being granted an expansion and just bringing in a new team while Boston was struggling, they're like, let's move Boston to Utah. So that's kind of been the strategy in the past years. But now that all 9 clubs are getting stronger, now we can bring in number 10. So that's kind of how that growth has happened.
So yeah, it's like they build that stability before they kind of overexpand.
That was obviously more important to make sure that the 9 were strong before letting in 10. Yeah, number 10.
I suppose, which is a good thing because it gives college athletes another couple of spots.
Yeah, and I think that every team is pretty good in the league. Like anyone can beat anyone on any given day. And yeah, if you expand too quickly, the competition will get watered down. But now teams have some pretty deep rosters, and I think we're ready to expand, and it would open up the door for some more internationals, and could be good for the league.
Yeah. So how's like the whole training aspect being a goalkeeper in the US? Like, do you guys have a lot of goalkeeper coaches per teams, or like growing up it was a bit difficult to get kind of trained as a goalkeeper?
Not necessarily. Or maybe I was just lucky. I had some good goalkeeper coaches growing up that really helped me develop a good foundation for the position. But I was just telling him earlier, the goalkeeper coaches who I've had as pros are not necessarily American. I had a Brazilian in Orlando. My goalkeeper coach, Lloyd Yaxley, was an English guy in Orlando for my second year. And then now my coach, Ian McCaldon, is a Scottish guy. So, with goalkeeping, I feel like you get a lot of different styles. And I've been exposed to a lot of different goalkeeper coaches and kind of pick and choose. There's not really a one size fits all. It's definitely dependent on your body type and your athleticism, what your strengths are, and things like that. So I've kind of learned a little bit from everyone. But yeah, as you grow up, it's important to get the technical foundation, and I think just more develop as a total athlete.
Yeah.
And then and your feet. That's huge because no one really stressed that when I was a kid. It's just like, here, you get back in goal. We'll never pass it back to you, but like make a couple saves when we need you, and that was it. But now the game and the position has just evolved so much that once I left college, it's like, whoa, like my feet need some work if I want to make it to the next level.
Yeah. And at the moment you've been training with Steve.
Yeah.
How's that like, transitioning over that while you're here just to work solely on your feet, don't have to wear your gloves?
Exactly. I don't even bring my gloves, so they can't force me to play the goal. It's been great because it's a lot of reps. If you watch a goalkeeper session, they focus on your hands. But if you watch a match, how many times does the goalkeeper actually touch the ball with their hands? To be honest, there's some games, hardly a couple. But with my feet, I probably make anywhere from 60 to 80 passes a game.
Oh, wow. I'll
have to look at, those are NWSL metrics. They don't track me here in the W-League. That's at least 10 times more touches with my feet than my hands. But do you see 10 times more focus on keeper's feet?
Only when you make a mistake.
Yeah, it's like, what? Yeah, you're just a cone until, you screw up and then they care about you. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so it's been really great just to get, repetition. Repetition is so important. I'm sure you know it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the choir here. But, yeah, it's been really good. And that's one of my goals going into the next NWSL season is just to sharpen up my feet.
Yeah. What's your greatest save?
Ooh. Interesting. I'll give you two because one that I'm really proud of, I don't think people would realize how difficult it is to make. And then another one was a flashier one. So the one that I'm most proud of was a breakaway save I had on my friend Tori Huster. I was playing for the Pride 2 years ago. She was slipped in on a through ball, and I came out and did what we call a spread technique and just kind of like, like starfished it. And she tried to chip it over my shoulder, and I kind of rejected it. And yeah, it was a technically difficult save, and it was rewarding because I've been working on that save tirelessly for months before, and I finally got it right. And then one that most people would probably be like, wow, what a great save, was against Lynn Williams last year. You guys will have to add these in your show notes, right? She's the forward, super fast forward on the North Carolina Courage. It was actually kind of my mistake positionally, a through ball. She took a touch around me, and I just booked it back to the goal and just kind of flung my body out and just saved it at the near post. And ended up being number 1 on SportsCenter top 10s. That was cool, but
So she actually beat you. She rounded you.
She took a touch, and I turned and just threw my body and threw it out of the goal. It was honestly a bit lucky, but so I loved it but hated it because I initially made the mistake.
Yeah.
But then I made up for it and made a pretty cool save, so it worked out.
What's your worst mistake?
Oh, a lot of Kennedy chipped me from the center circle. I'll never forget it. It was, she's a great player. And yeah, I've been teammates with her for, in Orlando and now with Sydney, but I was on the Spirit last year or 2 years ago, and we had a turnover. She takes a touch, looks up, and I'm like, oh crap. Because most players won't look, right? Yeah. They won't even think to shoot that, but not Alana. She's good. And she shot it. I'm like, oh,
how far off your line were you?
When she got the ball, I had to have been at least at the penalty spot. I think I ended up touching it around the 6 or so, but yeah. Couldn't get back in time. I didn't, So I'll never forget that. Keepers just hate being chipped.
Yeah,
I think it's a pride thing. Yeah, especially a good friend and teammate. It's like, Jane, you had to do that to me. We lost 1-0.
Did she apologize to you?
No, come on. Maybe she feels bad because it's me and she's a nice person, but it was a pretty sick goal.
Yeah.
So.
Have you ever tried to score from goalkeeper?
Well, I've been up on a couple corner kicks. Yeah. I would love to score, but ultimately that would probably require my team being down.
Yeah.
And just, throwing everything at it. So I've been up for, I think, 2 or 3 corner kicks. And the corner kick was coming straight to me. And I was like, oh no, it's actually coming to me. I don't know how to hit the ball. Please don't. But it was just one of those moments where it's it's coming right for me. And I kind of shut my eyes to hit it. And a defender just nicked it right before it got me. So I was closing my eyes, envisioning scoring and my goal celebration. And it nicks off her head and hits me square in the face. And it actually goes on frame, but so I kind of black out. It hits me in the face. I fall over and I just get up and just start sprinting back to the goal because what else am I going to do? I better run. But yeah, I watched a replay later, and it actually was saved off the line by their post player, who was none other than my face. And Danny Colaprico, who was my teammate on City last year. So I'm like, wow, I almost scored. But I would have had no idea. I was just like, oh crap, Aubrey, like you blew that. Run back to your goal before they scored you. But that's the closest I've been. I've taken some free kicks, but like just to serve the ball in, never to.
You didn't go, let me just have a crack at
goal. Oh, I would love to, but my coach would not be a fan of that. I would like to take a penalty kick one day. I think that's probably my best chance of scoring. Yeah.
So how important would you say the mental side of the game for being a goalkeeper? Obviously, twofold, where you're not involved for long periods of time and then you need to perform like in a split second. And then also the lack of a room for error. So if a midfielder makes a mistake, there's room to recover. Forward makes a mistake. Defender to a degree, you make a mistake, it's not going to end well. So how does that mental strength play into it?
Important. Yeah, at any age. And especially for me as the margins become even smaller. There are days, right, when I don't do anything, and I still have to be sharp for that one save that's required to me. Even just positionally, I can't be a step or two off. Things that people wouldn't necessarily recognize as a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of see that, and just also some resiliency and being able to bounce back and quickly forget mistakes, because the game's 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If you give up a goal or even just have a bad pass, if you dwell on that for too long or let it prevent you from then, attempting the next long ball or whatever it may be, that'll impact the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely have to have a little bit of, I won't say arrogance, but just maybe a little bit of unrealistic confidence about you, because you can't dwell on the past. You have to believe that I can.
Is it something you've ever struggled with?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely used to have a fear of failure. And I think that's something I'll always deal with, just because I do strive to be the best for not only myself but my team and the club, whoever I'm playing for, and everything that represents. But I've learned to not let that limit me, but just be really confident. And I've learned that a lot through the help of my goalkeeper coach this year with Spirit. I'll do a lot of yoga, and visualization is also key for some players. So I do a little bit of that. It's just having kind of this air about me that, come and beat me. I try not to, make it easy for the other team. So just, if I'm in the right position, and have the right angle, and, I'm just technically clean, if it's a good goal, then good for them. I can live with that. So just, I try to control the things that I can and not let the rest get to me. And that's been really beneficial.
How do you find that then, going in, playing in front of 20,000 people? So here in the W-League, maybe it's a couple of thousand, obviously gets bigger for the grand final, and then to have to go and perform in front of all those people. Like, what's different? Do you prepare any different? I'd imagine that you wouldn't, but...
No. I treat every game the same, regardless of the audience or how many fans we have in attendance. The same game day routines, but it is a lot more exciting to play in front of 20,000. It helps me personally, even if it's a home or an away crowd.
Yeah.
Because just knowing there's that many people there, I think if you can develop a little bit of a swagger of like, oh, all these people have come to watch me play, like let's put on a good show. If you kind of embrace it that way and really feed off of it. All athletes live for those moments, right? You kind of want the pressure, and that's when you really see what you're made of. And so I enjoy a good challenge and love those high stakes games.
What differences have you seen across, obviously, Norway, Denmark and America and obviously Australia? Is there differences or similarities in the way that the coaches go about it? Obviously, you said you have coaches from different countries. Are there things that are consistent across all of that, or do you find different things in different parts of the world?
Yeah, every experience has been so unique in terms of playing style and training style. Even from a team perspective, from a goalkeeper perspective, it's hard to compare. Let me think here. What are some major differences?
Like, do you have a main goalkeeper coach, say that's external from a club, and then you still like keep in contact with them, or is it only solely based off which club? So then that determines which keeper coach you're working with.
It's solely based on the club. The club, has a goalkeeper coach. I don't, have a personal one that I travel with or anything. I haven't reached those levels.
Is that a thing? Not even necessarily travel, but one that you touch base with, like say it's somebody that you've had before, like similar to what I do with a lot of the players in here, someone you've worked with and then touch base. Did you see the game? What did you think of that, or things like that?
A little bit. One of my mentors is Jill Wooden, who runs the Keeper Institute in New Jersey. She helped me out when I turned pro, and I can definitely still bounce things off of her. Would love to get back there and train with her, but just with how my personal career has gone, I go straight from NWSL to the W-League and NWSL W-League. So honestly, I haven't had more than 2 weeks off in a couple years. Yep. So I spend that time with family, and I definitely do text her like, hey, what'd you think of this goal? And
see that save.
She'll give me some feedback, if I ask for it or not sometimes. But in my old coaches, I keep in touch with, but it is funny, seeing them on the other side of things, right? Like Lloyd, I really enjoyed working with him at Orlando, but, not that he's the enemy, but he's
the enemy.
He's for the other team. So we'll catch up, but I'm still going to make sure we beat him. He definitely, there's a lot of people who, will still kind of look out for me, but no one that I've trained with consistently over the years, just because my journey has taken me to so many different places where it's hard to, have any consistent level of training in one spot.
Yeah.
What's the next goal for you?
Definitely to become a regular starter on the national team. So I think that's definitely achievable if I have a good season in the NWSL again this year. And hopefully break in, and just one step at a time. I just want to get invited back and hopefully get an opportunity to be capped and continue on with them.
Back-to-back goalkeeper of the year?
Ready, you're first. I would love that. Yeah, we'll see. I think the Spirit will be a good team this year, and hopefully we'll make playoffs, and it's definitely possible. I'd like to, get scored on less than last year and do a little better. So if I keep that up, can't see why not.
Well, who are the big names on your team at Washington?
Rose Lavelle. She's huge. We just traded Malpew, so don't have her anymore. Andy Sullivan is our 6th. She's a good player. She's in with the U.S. national team right now. Those are, her and Rose are only 2 national teamers at the moment.
Do you have many foreigners?
We signed a Japanese girl, Yokoyama, I want to say is her last name. We signed a Canadian international, Jenna Hellstrom. Not sure if she's in with the Olympic qualifiers right now. Who else do we have? Brooke Hendricks is an English girl. So a couple, all new internationals, so we'll see.
We used to do player takeovers on our story, and Jenna actually did one for us.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I just randomly hit her up on Insta, and then she did one for us, I think she was playing in Sweden.
You never met her?
No, she hasn't been here. No, I just randomly met her. I mean, randomly hit her up on Insta. Yeah, just ages ago, years ago, like 3 years ago.
You're kidding?
Yeah. I know. Small world.
But what What do you mean a player take over?
So, like,
First phase?
nah, like a game day. So when they used to do game days, so they'd take stories, send it, and then we'd post it. And they'd do that. We do it with heaps and heaps of players. Yeah. Tamira's did one when she was in Brazilian national team. Nora did one with, I think she was at Brescia at the time, not AC Milan. Yeah. Had heaps. Had Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Arsenal. Had everyone, eh? That was a while ago. Yeah.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, we used to have them all the time. Some that I knew, obviously, like Nora and Tamira's. Others that I didn't. Yeah.
You just choose them.
Just randomly. Yeah, and they just did it, yeah.
Well, good. She's at least nice then, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Huh, I'll tell her, yeah, I know you.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Very good things.
So what advice would you have for young goalkeepers or even young players that are aspiring to make that step to the next level?
I would say don't be afraid to make mistakes. I mean, the more you make, the quicker you learn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you learn from them. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and then learn the lesson and move on. Yeah, that's been, some of my most embarrassing moments have been my greatest lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can learn something from every mistake you make, and I use that as fuel to keep improving and just get better and not dwell on it, not let it hold me back.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
That's it. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
it's been interesting. Good to get insights from a goalkeeper on how their journey is.
I think you're the first goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's
It is first goalkeeper, yeah.
It's about time.
It is.
35, what are you waiting for?
We don't work with many keepers in here.
No. Well, Steve's always said...
That's a problem, they need to.
Well, Steve's always said you're the best goalkeeper in the W-League for the last couple of seasons. So
Appreciate that.
he's a big fan of you. And he goes for the Wanderers, so it's pretty hard for him to say that.
I actually don't in the girls.
Oh, good.
I'll go for Sydney. I always have.
All the guys played each other this weekend.
Yeah, I hate Sydney this week, so don't talk to me. No. But yeah. Nah, the girls have always gone for Sydney. The guys, I can't stand them.
Where's that game?
Jubilee, I think.
Oh,
We won't be going because we will be getting smashed badly.
Wait, so you won't go because you have no...
No, I won't
in your
go
team?
because it's that far, and I struggle to go to Parramatta to watch it at the moment. But yeah, we're terrible. We're gonna get pumped.
It's terrible. It's the venue as well. It's
Jubilee,
oval
yeah.
I like Jubilee.
It's oval
You live out
shape.
that way, but it's
I
so
know.
far from here.
Well, that's how far we come to Jubilee.
Drive from here, yeah. But no, we'll get pumped. Do you go to the men's games?
I've been 1 or 2 this year.
In 3 years.
No, this year.
Oh, this year, yep.
I went to more last year. I should probably go this weekend, considering it is so close.
Mm-hmm.
But wait, it's Friday or Saturday?
Saturday, always big derby Saturday.
Then, yeah, I'll probably.
And then when's your derby next week?
Yeah, the weekend after.
Yeah, finally.
It's
W-League
at
back.
Cromer Park.
Yeah,
Man.
is it really? Yeah, well, synthetic.
It's so bad. It
Yeah,
is.
and it's a bad synthetic now as well. Yeah.
It's terrible. We played Sydney there this year. It was,
Yeah. Why there? Why would you play a derby there?
I don't know.
Yes, weird.
How did you find it at? Obviously, it wasn't the best day for you, but how did you find it at Bankwest, the new stadium?
Oh, I love the stadium. Love the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Hated the result.
Yeah. That was bad.
Yeah, that was a shock
Bad.
as well. That was,
I hadn't even got back from the bar and it was 1-0.
Are
I'm
we
like,
off,
oh.
are we off the record?
no.
No.
I can't wait to say what I really want to say.
I think I know what you want to say. But alright, yeah, perfect. Let's go train.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Done.